Oh, hey, we're on camera. That must mean that we're doing some sort of special Thanksgiving.
Except it's after Thanksgiving and this isn't going to be edited till New Year's.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new Red Curtain Review.
Woo!
Right? And we're together here to do our turkey films, Thanksgiving, turkey bad film, bad that you love to watch film review time thing.
That's right. We told you we'd be back.
And this year, Rainey wanted to do, what's it called?
Cagegiving?
Cagegiving, where we've just watched 3 Nicolas Cage films. And now we're gonna do a review. Oh gosh.
We're gonna toast to Cagegiving again.
Yep. Here's to Cagegiving, and we're drinking this wonderful Irish whiskey.
Happy Cagegiving, everybody.
Cagegiving,
Wait,
everybody.
bump it. Then dump it.
And then Cage dump it. Oh, Sunday drinking. Oh, the Lord.
That was pretty
Smooth. Well, that's why we drink Jameson Smooth. We recommend you drink when you perform turkey giving, cage giving. Mm-hmm. These movies are really fun, but they're not the best films. Some of you might think they are. So
definitely some guilty pleasures.
The guilty pleasures, fun to watch. I guess the first one we're going to talk about, when we watched 3 films, first one we watched is the Port of Duty Call.
Bad Lieutenant.
Bad Lieutenant 2.
No.
Oh, no?
Bad Lieutenant.
Bad Lieutenant.
Port of Call.
Port of Call.
New Orleans.
New Orleans. It's not Bad Lieutenant 2.
So not a sequel and not a reboot to the original.
Has nothing
Bad
to do
Lieutenant.
with.
Nothing to do with whatever. The only thing that they have in common is that there's a bad lieutenant.
Yeah. So the first one was by Abel Ferrara, and it starred Harvey Keitel. Ferrara.
Yeah, Harvey Keitel.
And it starred Harvey Keitel and some other people. I saw it when it came out.
Which is, and we brought this up earlier, Abel Ferrara is the director of King of New York.
Oh. Yeah, he's a good director.
Yeah, he's badass.
He's done a lot of stuff. And so for some reason, and I don't know the gap between the first, we didn't research any of this. We just watched the movies. The Werner Herzog of great fame decided to make Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. Does anyone know the story? Why?
No. He was doing all his documentary shit up until then. He did that Wild Bull Yonder.
Yeah.
In 2005.
Yeah.
This came out in 2011.
Yeah.
Or 2009.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what he was doing.
I mean, he's even quoted as saying that the title of the film was most likely a mistake. So,
Yeah.
And
Studio
then
edit.
Abel Ferrara got really mad at him, apparently.
Yeah, there's some sort of
But then there was like a
disagreement.
little bit of a beef, and Abel Ferrara said that he wanted to murder everybody. Or no, everybody should die in a dumpster fire or a bad wreck or something who does reboots. But yeah, that's here nor there. What did you guys think about the film?
You know.
Gold Star.
Gold star from Rainey.
Yeah.
It was great.
I liked it.
I'd give it a bronze star.
I give it a star. And
I might actually buy it.
yeah, I can see owning it. It's the kind of turkey, I'm using that loosely. It's the kind of bad film. It's not really bad. It's just so weird. It's just a strange, quirky film, and Nicolas Cage gets to do some good Cage moments that he's known for.
I almost kind of wish that it was a little bit more quirky.
Yeah, he could have caged up more.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do any like Ghost Rider going on fire screaming stuff, but he did some strange behavior stuff. Was funny.
So what's the general plot synopsis
Yeah.
here? What's going on with Bad Lieutenant?
Rainey?
So, Nicolas Cage plays a cop in New Orleans. And at the beginning of the movie, he and his partner, who's played
Val
by
Kilmer.
Val Kilmer,
Sorry, Val Kilmer's in this.
post-fat Val Kilmer.
Batman himself.
Yeah.
Post or pre?
I don't know.
He's not fat in the movie.
And he's not fat in the movie.
Nothing's wrong with being fat. We're just saying that.
But so it's right after Katrina, and they're going through a prison, and there's an inmate in there who's about to drown in a cell.
Yeah, the
And
water levels are rising.
Yeah, and they're openly mocking this guy and are willing to let him drown.
Mm-hmm.
And last minute, Nic Cage decides to do the right thing and jump in and save him. And then we immediately quick cut to him sitting in a doctor's office with the doctor telling him that
Yeah, like a year later.
yeah,
or something.
It was an abrupt cut. He jumps in the water and it cuts to him sitting on an examination table and the doctor's saying that you're gonna have back pain indefinitely. So he prescribes Nic Cage Vicodin.
Mm-hmm.
And then the entire movie descends into
Downward slope of drug addiction.
drug addiction,
And whoring and
owing his
drinking.
bookie money.
Yeah, gambling. I don't know how
He
that got in
literally
there.
robs people
He,
of their drugs.
yeah, he drives around town and
go for
follows
pain.
people out of clubs and threatens to arrest them, and he fucks hookers and
Yeah,
steals their drugs.
and
And General Zod himself, well, not the original General Zod, but Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon's in it as a
plays
small
someone
role.
Who,
Is
Hey.
the police property room guy that keeps sneaking Cage drugs, and,
Yeah, he's
and
stealing
who's the
stuff from
main
the prop
his
room.
main squeeze, the prostitute?
ooh,
Is-
Eva Mendez.
Eva Mendez is a big role in this.
Yeah,
She's
really
His prostitute girlfriend.
that's his girlfriend, who's also a prostitute, and they do drugs together.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of cocaine together.
And that's, I guess, and this is about his descent and then his salvation at the end or whatever. And I guess that's the similarity to the original Bad Lieutenant. Was Harvey Keitel would do all sorts of bad things like drugs and abuse people and stuff, and you know, that's kind of it.
So what were some of the key scenes that you guys because I really
Brian's
thought that
really wants to talk about.
there were 3 key
Okay.
scenes in this
Stuff in this
film. There were three key parts where Cage went Cage crazy in this one that were like they were like basically the big set pieces of the film. I just thought that in general the pacing was a little funky. I was expecting it to be a lot more quirky than it was. But like you were mentioning before, it had an interesting arc though overall because of the good deed that Cage had done by actually rescuing the prisoner who was about to drown. We thought it was just going to be like a downward spiral to the point where Cage probably, spoiler alert, might have died in the end.
Oh yeah,
But
spoiler alert. Do you need one for this movie?
It seemed like
Who's gonna watch Bad Lieutenant Protocol, New Orleans?
Everybody, really.
Yeah,
It
you should
seemed-
watch
Oh, you
it.
should watch it. It was surprising.
You should watch
The
it,
arc
yeah.
was surprising. So, Brian, what was the first scene that you?
all right. So I mean,
What hooked
this
you?
and this is out of order. This is definitely out of order. But one of the main little pieces that hooked me, one of the main performances that hooked me was the death of was he like a he wasn't a I want to say he was a pimp. Was he a pimp or a drug kingpin?
Yes,
Yeah, he was like a mob.
he was just a bad
he was
crime
mob
dude.
just
guy.
a mobster. There was a death of this mobster guy who it was okay. If you guys know Exhibit,
Oh yeah, Exhibit's in this
Exhibit's
movie.
in this movie. If you guys know Exhibit,
I didn't
the
know.
rapper,
Didn't know
also
that.
known as the Pimp My Ride guy, he plays a drug kingpin who has a little bit of a dealing with Nic Cage, and they end up kind of like in trouble with this mobster. They end up killing the mobster, but that scene was a standout for me because of not only is Cage like tripping balls like hard at this point, but the fact that I don't know, it kind of went with this whole kind of spirituality, like New Orleans kind of voodoo kind of thing, where they shot the guy, they shot the mobster, but then Nic Cage said, "Shoot him again, his spirit's still dancing," and then they cut to the mobster breakdancing while all of his cronies around him are dead. I don't know. I just
It's
thought
really
it was
weird. Was it soul or
very-
spirit?
Soul, spirit. I don't know. He
Yeah,
said his
so-
spirit's still
Dancing.
dancing.
This movie is as Cage
Fucking weird.
is getting into drug-induced states, has some very strange, like hallucinatory. He like
starts
sees like iguanas.
Singing iguanas, yeah.
So there'd
That's
be
a
some
great scene.
lizards.
And they're shot like they're shot very Herzog as
Yeah.
the scenes where they cut to him
They're almost
having
like
these
documentary shots.
Yeah.
Right? They could become more like
and
real
they
looking.
and they
Right.
like key into some of the weird sort of music that Herzog puts in his other movies. Where like he'll have like weird operatic kind of stuff that's total juxtaposition of what's on screen. So it's
Yeah.
weird like twangy kind of like yodeling music, and they're kind of doing some of that and like
Yeah, some weird music in
Camera
this film.
shots.
Like with the scenes, it just seemed odd. And weird camera work. strange zoom-ins on Cage's face as he looks high.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
Just those weird truck-ins of just the weird expressions on Cage's faces. Another good
Yeah, the second one.
another good one was the threatening of the two old ladies.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Getting information out of these two old ladies on the whereabouts of a specific witness to a brutal shootout.
Well, hold on. Maybe we should back it up because this is all over the place.
Yeah, it is.
I kind of condensed the plot very, in a very primitive state. It's Nic Cage descending into drug-fueled madness after, becoming addicted to Vicodin because of this back injury. Yeah. But, I guess the overarching plot is really Nic Cage and his department trying to pin some murders onto Xzibit's character.
Right, yeah.
Who's eluding them. Yeah. So he's kind of going around doing his whoring and drug shenanigans, but he's also trying to get ties in with Xzibit's gang.
Right. And legitimately take him down.
Yeah, so it's all kind of happening at the same time. So in the scene that you're describing,
he's trying to find the lead witness for the crime. There was a
so
kid
I'm all over the place.
disappeared.
I just remember those three specific things, and my mind is just stuck on those.
Yeah, but that was a good scene where he's trying to find the lead witness ran away, so he's interrogating these two old ladies.
Well, the grandmother of the witness and her ward, I guess, this old woman on oxygen.
Pulled her oxygen.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Nic Cage is a total bastard in this movie.
Yeah, he does all sorts of crazy stuff.
And the fact that he was using what's hilarious to me, one of the really hilarious things to me is the fact that he's using a non-sanctioned weapon, a Smith & Wesson Model 29 that's as big as his table, 44 Magnum, and it's just stuck in his pants in a very awkward position. It's literally halfway up his midsection.
Stuck in there. It's really funny.
Just leaves it.
And
how do you walk around like that?
I don't know.
And also, why did halfway into the movie did his cadence, his voice changed, and he was really talking really nasally and kind of had a Gene Cagney thing going on.
I don't know. Yeah.
It was really weird. Really weird. I mean, it was. I guess that was part of the downward spiral.
Yeah.
Hey, it had the original MILF in it also. Jennifer Coolidge, is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, from
Best in Show.
Yeah.
Best in Show.
Two Broke Girls, if anybody watches that.
Legally Blonde.
She's in Legally Blonde.
The original
She's
MILF.
the Bend and Snap
From American Pie.
girl from Legally Blonde.
She's in it. Val Kilmer's
to
character
drink
is in
mom.
it a little bit on and off.
Did you mention Brad Dourif?
Oh yeah, Brad Dourif.
Brad
Chucky.
Dourif
Voice of
plays
Chucky.
the bookie.
It was a weird one. It was just so strange and so off kilter, and the pacing was horrible. But I want to get it.
Yeah, and sometimes they would do
wanna buy
shots where characters show up and you could tell they were just using the set and maximizing it for shots. So they would just reshoot, which, people come to the same sets in movies, but you had just the feeling like they'd shot it back to back.
Yeah, scenes where Nic Cage meets Brad Dourif in the bar to talk to him about placing bets, and then maybe 20 minutes later into the movie, he goes back to the same bar, the same table. Brad Dourif is probably wearing the same shirt.
They all the same stuff.
Going back to talk to him about something else. But they did that too, another scene where...
The police station where people just kept coming in while he's there.
Yeah, and the parking lot scene where he's going after two different couples, earlier in the movie.
Yeah, you can tell they shot those back to back. So, for the sake of cash, I understand it. It just adds to the weirdness of it that these shots kind of just feel like nothing's changed between the shots. The music's weird.
It's all weird.
Cage is high.
It keeps you going. It's very unpredictable. We kept trying to predict what was going to happen.
Yeah, you can't predict it. I mean,
which is great.
Unless you watch this review. Then,
it seems like a predictable movie.
Nothing was predictable about it. It was
Also,
really funny.
Fairuza Balk is in it too. If anybody knows Fairuza Balk from The
Craft.
Craft.
Fairuza Balk.
Cult classic The Craft. Woo, Fairuza Balk. She's in it. That's a small role.
State trooper.
Yeah,
Former
state
love
trooper.
interest or something.
Yeah, something she was in it.
So it's one of those casts where the majority of the cast you're like, hey, I know that person. They play. It's a lot of character actors basically. So great semi-star-studded cast, where people just generally trying to stay relevant, I guess. But it was just so strange. It was just so strange. But I actually really want to seek it out and get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not really the worst film. Some critics really like it, and then some people didn't understand it. It's just a weird film.
How would you describe it? Because it's not really a drama. It's kind of a drama. It's kind of like dark comedy, but it's really flat. It's very German.
German.
If you think about it, like I mean, I thought it was pretty funny, but there's a lot of
They're dry.
it's played flat, so
Yeah.
you're not really.
Maybe like it's comparable to like if David Lynch did a comedy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't really
there are some
go
Lynchian
anywhere,
moments.
but I guess that's the realness of it.
Mhm.
Like it felt genuine because it didn't get too like Hollywoody.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
very plot heavy in that sense.
Yeah. But also at the same time, I mean, we're dealing with a lieutenant who's, in this slow decline. I expected it to be a little bit more loopy, especially since he was like seeing iguanas and shit, So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was all kind of low key Cage, really.
Yeah.
Like he was doing some quirky stuff, but he never flipped his shit like he did in Mandy in the bathroom.
Yeah, he didn't flip his shit too hard. I mean, the hardest he flipped his shit was when he threatened the two old ladies with a 44 Magnum, and then he
Yeah,
took
they're
the,
like-
the
Yeah, the lady was on oxygen.
the
She was
oxygen
on
out of that lady's
10. The other
face.
one. Yeah, it was really funny.
And then still threatened to kill them afterward.
He's like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna fucking do it. Kill both of you right now. I don't even like you two. Yeah, that's crazy Cage as he got.
Good.
But he was a good one. It was a good one. We're not saying it's great. Remember, we're not saying it's a great film.
It was an unexpected
It was an unexpected pleasure.
gym.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how to I don't know how to grade it. It's just such a weird film. I can see watching it a lot, which I think is a good thing. But it's maybe more like a strange art house crime film,
Yeah. Black
but
comedy crime.
doesn't take itself too seriously.
I just I really wanted it to be a little bit more strange though. I wanted them like up the strangeness and then come back to down to earth.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't know what Werner's.
It was like kind of going, and then we like, and then going
Yeah.
up again, and then kind of like.
Yeah, it always like leveled out. It never
Plateaued.
got super bizarre.
Yeah.
Like if somebody else directed it, it would have gone really crazy. But maybe just because he's German documentarian, it was more regular. I think. Anything else to add? Anything you want to talk about in it?
Yeah, it's great.
Would you generally recommend it to the audience?
I would. I guess it depends on the audience, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very
So
obscure film.
It's yeah. I would recommend it. It's definitely something that you should watch.
It's not as good as which Cage film? Like where would you rank it in the Cage films?
It's not as good as Mandy though.
It's not as good as Mandy's new. It's not as good as like
Raising Arizona.
Raising Arizona or Moonstruck or
Not as good as-
Weatherman. It's not as good
And
as.
Weatherman is great.
Yeah.
But it's better than.
Not as good as Snake Eyes. I really like Snake Eyes.
Yeah, who did that one? Was that? I can't remember. That was one of the. Or was that Brian
De Palma?
De Palma?
Yeah, I think.
Maybe.
You should watch Brian.
Yeah, Brian De Palma's good. It's better than.
There's a lot of National Treasure.
If National Treasure, those weird. We gotta watch those.
I've never seen National Treasure. Any of them.
They made $1 billion billion,
I've never seen any of them. Yeah,
but
they made
they're
so
like
much money.
so
They're really
unbelievable.
Disney.
It's like a weird. It's like Indiana Jones, Disney, modern days
like
crap.
adventure.
Oh, but starring Nic Cage.
And didn't it have Sean Bean in it too, the original?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
He
And the
was
next one had
the bad guy.
had the Man in Black from the Westworld series. What's his name? Old guy.
So you heard it from us. We recommend it. So
We couldn't think of anything that's better.
yeah, go ahead and,
Well, it's better than Season of the Witch.
yeah, which is the
Which
next one
is
we're gonna
which is the next one we're gonna talk about, which
Which-
is Cage and High Fantasy.
quite possibly the worst.
And
pacing
Cage
I've
has
ever
done
seen.
like ever since he got in trouble, I guess, with the
IRS.
IRS. He's had to do a lot of low budget like films shot in like Europe or something, and we haven't seen a lot of those. I think they're all on Netflix. And
Yeah.
this isn't his worst film. This isn't a bad film.
Bad Lieutenant.
Bad Lieutenant's just a weird film.
Yeah.
It's a
And
weird.
so
one.
it's hard to rank it. I'm not saying it's his worst film. I'm just saying if you aren't into weird films, you won't like it, and if you are, you might love it.
Isn't that kind of a cool section to be in when you're like, of course everybody knows Nicolas Cage as being like, the guy that loses his shit in all of his movies. But isn't it kind of a cool position to be in where like you don't even know where to rank specific films?
I'd say
You
it's
just,
very
like,
culty. It's a culty kind of weird film, so I recommend it.
very obscure, very culty.
I say watch it.
yeah.
Yeah.
would say
If you're watching this review, I'd say watch it.
Yeah, definitely.
Unlike the other one, Season of the Witch, maybe skip.
Yeah, that's the one we're
Yeah,
gonna review
skip it.
next. Season of the Witch sucked.
So watch the next review where we talk about it.
All right, so there it is, folks. A review for Bad Lieutenant.
It's more like a strange
Port of Call.
discussion
Port of
review.
Call, Nolans, or New Orleans, or however you want to say it. So make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can actually see when we're coming out with new reviews and whatnot when we put them up on the
Reviews,
sites,
discussions
so-
of these movies, just our thoughts as we watch it. We're not trying to be all fancy about them.
So next, we're going to talk about the abysmal Season of the Witch, starring Nicolas Cage and Hellboy himself, Ron Perlman.
And part 2 of our Cagegiving.
Cagegiving, everybody. Whoa!
Okay.
All right, so now it's recording.
Oh, Granny Rawls.
Bless it.
All right, that should be
Granny
recording.
Elizabeth Ezekiel Rawls
We're
III.
doing